Hey guys, back again, Bert's Ford factory, working on a not Ford. So this is a 01 A6 Audi Quattro. It's got the 2.8 liter in it. This one the transmission is bad on. It goes forward and backwards, but like really badly. Nice clean car, silver, black, leather interior. Fella did an aftermarket radio system in it, so it's a good donor car for a transmission. And we've got a gold A6 in the shop right now that's got a blown motor, so we're going to do a swap. So as usual, I would have liked to have filmed driving this in here because it sounds like someone's beating on the engine with hammers. It's got no oil in it. When we picked it up, they were trying to pour oil into it and it was just dripping out the bottom. You could hear it hitting the floor or the ground. So it's got a hole in the side of the block somewhere. I can't see it. I already looked, or I show you where it's at. But it's got a good transmission. I know this car, so it's not as pretty. It's tan on the inside and that weird gold Audi color on the outside, but it is the same year, 01 A6 2.8 liter Quattro. So it's going to be hopefully a relatively easy swap. We're going to drop both motors and transmissions from the I call it the K member, but the cradle, and then swap them on the ground and then shove them back up in the silver guy. So here we go. Alright, first thing we're going to do is drain the oil, drain the transmission fluid. While he's doing that, I'm going to start putting it in service mode, pulling off both. I might pull off the whole front end, I'm not sure, depends on if I need to or not, but start with the tires, inner fender connectors and stuff, and pulling out everything needed to put it in service mode, and or pull the front end off. So he pulled the oil plug out and nothing came out, and he's like, so what oil am I draining? I really wish I could have videotaped it. It was funny, but we just noticed it's not in the side of the block. It has a hole. It's right there. Looking like, yeah, it's got crushed. They ran over something, crushed the oil pan, and it just dripping right out of it. So oil is completely drained. Sweet. All right, so to get the motor out, we're gonna have to take these guys out. We'll take the, where's it at? Over there. It's hard to see. Let's see if I can get up there. Yeah, there we go. There's 3 bolts up here. Sorry, focusing. Up there for the motor cradle. Had to take the drive line out, obviously, and with that was the exhaust. We went all the way back with the exhaust because it was just easier. Nothing was bolted on except for right here. They were bolted onto the mufflers or cats. Those are cats, mufflers, whatever, mufflers. Then we took the shield off, and then the drive line, which it has an intermediate bearing right about here. You know, typical stuff there and there. So now the cradle's ready to fall, but we'll have to disconnect the parts from the steering. Hold on, I'll get up there. So the steering parts, we're going to disconnect our here, brake lines, and then the lower strut, and that should separate everything from the body. And we're going to take this all out as one unit. I am going to put it in service mode and or pull the front off, but we'll see how that works. Alright, so because this is the donor car, I chose to take the whole inner fender out. It's a lot easier. Took that guy out. You want to get to what's it called, service mode. You want to take these 3 guys out here, and also there's 3 screws here you can loosen. Now this just clamps the lower bumper cover, but you can really see those 3 bolts there. Let you put it in service mode a lot easier. Alright, yeah, well, inner fender's off, bumper cover off, service mode. I don't know why. I always think you got to take the headlights loose in the service mode. So I take those deadgum 4 bolts out, and I'm like, why did I do that every stinking time? Anyway, it's probably because I'm on my second mimosa. At one point, I was going to call this, instead of Bert's Ford Factory, the Mimosa Mechanic, but I'm glad I didn't because that's kind of gay. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and take the whole front end off because it's just going to be easier on this one. On the other one, we'll leave it in service mode, I think. And I say that because I really don't want to have to recharge the air conditioner. I can. So I'm going to capture this AC I think it's R134A in this one. So I'll capture it. Then we'll pull the front end off, because that's, you know, that's pretty much it. You can take the power steering coolant line off, and sorry about the focus there, and get the whole front end off with just, you can swing it aside and not take the AC off, or you can take the AC off and take it completely out of the way, which is what I think I'm going to do, because going up and down with the lift, as I remember stuff that's on the top or on the bottom, is a little bit of a pain. And I'm sorry to talk so much, but if you haven't done this kind of stuff, it's just nice to know the few things that you need. I don't know if I noticed, said this earlier, but I got these at Harbor Freight. You can probably get them at like Target or Walmart or something similar, but it's really nice to keep each section, like, you know, tires, and then drive line exhaust, and then service mode, and then the next one is going to be whatever. But you can put blue tape on it like you see over there, the painter's tape, and label them if you forget, because this is probably going to be one of those projects that takes a few days. You know, one car, then the next car, and then putting the parts car back together to take it to the junkyard. You get more money that way. I'm not going to part it out. I don't like all those people coming by from Craigslist crazy wanting, you know, like one little $12 part and they want it because you didn't take it off. Anyway, just kind of giving you an update right here. Everyone knows how to put your car in service mode. If you don't, there's a million videos out there for that. It only takes a few minutes. Bumper covers off, service mode activated, and I'm going to go ahead and disconnect. So it's pretty simple. You can see this is your AC lines. I'm going to take those off. You can swing this whole unit out and leave those connected, and it lets you have access to the whole front end on these. This is an 01. A little bit different in the 09s, B5s. This is a B01. This is a B6. Shit. This is B5. Sorry. So the 6, 7s, and 8s are a little bit different, but the 8 you can't swing it. I don't know about the 6 and 7s, but the B5s you can. I really like these cars. Anyway, so you're going to take. I'm going to take these guys off. I'll swing this out of the way, and then there's just some oil cooler lines, and also the radiator needs to be drained, which I have not done yet. I don't know why I didn't drain the radiator earlier, but that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, wow, it looks like it's in the garage door. Huh. Anyway, that's the next step. Drain the radiator, disconnect a bunch of stuff, swing some stuff out of the way, and pull the front end off. That'll let us have full, easy access to the motor. It's not necessary for dropping the cradle, but I'm going to do it because, well, I want it to be easy, and I'm drinking mimosas. Alright, it was a little bit harder than I remembered, but the front end's off. So there's a ton of little wires, connectors right here. They're modular, so it's really easy to take off. You just take them off and remember where they came from, but they are color coded, so hard to do. For some reason, my upper radiator hose was super stuck. You can see a little line right here where I had to pry it off. I mean, I wiggled, and then pried, but it just didn't want to come off. And then I also forgot, sorry, old guy, I forgot to take the power steering lines off. One's upper and lower on the cooler, and I bent this one. Of course, this is the donor car, so it doesn't matter, but you can see I bent it. You can see it's bent. So make sure you take those off first. A little embarrassing, but it is what it is. Thankfully, this is a donor car. I'm not really giving two gives a shits on this guy, but I'm a little disappointed in myself. I just bought a brand new alternator for my kid's car. I probably could have cleaned that one up. I know this one was working and it's super oily, but at least it was working. I could have cleaned it up and saved 150 bucks, but I'm an idiot sometimes. But you can clearly see this guy is just those lower seals are probably super leaking. Something else is leaking bad. This isn't just from, you know, the oil pan. It doesn't get up this high on the motor, so there's something else leaking really bad, which probably a sign that it was going south anyway. Anyway, so yeah, remember to do your power steering lines. Those connections, these guys go to the bottom of the lights. Super easy to disconnect. This guy goes to the bottom of, this guy goes to the bottom of the lights also. I disconnected this line. All you have to do is click this ball out, and then this slides out of a slot. No big deal. It's pretty easy if you have the ability to retain the R134A. If you don't have that ability, it's not a big deal. You can either take it to a shop and have it drained, have them drain it, or something else. I won't speak about that, but here's what it looks like when it's sitting outside the garage. If you're doing a rebuild or something, this is definitely the way to go. So, alright. Okay, so this is a video for the 01 A6. I think it's a 99 actually, but it's still a B5 A6. 2.8 liter automatic, Tiptronic, Quattro, all that silliness. I did a pretty good video of taking the gold one apart, which is skews the transition of light, but it's out there. There's the motor minus the transmission. It's shot. We are going to reuse that the torque converter, because that's the good transmission and torque converter. I was hesitant to use the torque converter from the bad transmission just in case there was, you know, too much clutch material in there or whatever. But and you can see got a good bit of parts stacked around. The boss lady's getting upset with all this, so I got to get this done pretty quick. This motor is, I mean, it's just ridiculous, the amount of grease and oil from the seals and stuff on this guy. So here's the good transmission. Got her on a roll around doodle. So that's, you know, getting ready to go in. Man, the light is terrible. Sorry, it's so bright outside. It's rare for Seattle for brightness. But I wanted to do a video real quick of to get these racks out. Let's see if I can. I'm gonna need a light. Hold on a second. So to get the steering rack out, or actually to pull the engine or get the steering rack out, you need to get these little secret bolts. So if you look up there, see if I can see it. Here, yeah. There's two. Those are the two bolts that let the fluid in and out of the rack. If you're taking the rack out, there's a 12-point guy right up there. Maybe you can see it. That guy has to come out if you're going to get the rack out. If you're just taking the lines off, you can leave that bolt. But let's see if I can. I like to get it up in there. It's hard. Anyway, to get to those bolts, you have to take this trans mount out. Man, this trans mount out. To get that trans mount out, you have to take the exhaust. You can see the exhaust is missing off the side. So you take the exhaust loose, you shove it up. What I did is I put my my lift, my trans lift here, shoved it the exhaust all the way up. That allows you to get to, let's see if I can get my hand up in there, that bolt right there on the motor, I'm sorry, the trans mount. So there's 3 bolts. I'll show you that right here. 3 bolts on the trans mount. Got them all together. The top one is really hard to get. Yeah, that's the one you have to remove the exhaust and kind of push it up out of the way, because it won't come out with this mount in place. So you push the exhaust up and back. You can get to that bolt then you can get to that bolt, and then that bolt. So there's 3. Then you pull this cover off, and then you have to take that bolt out right there, the center guy, and then you take this off. Then you can get this out. It's hard to get out in one piece. Once you get those out, then you can access those bolts, you know, 18 inches up there in the darkness. But yeah, it's something. And I might be doing this the hard way. Some people say you can pull the transmission out, but I want to get without pulling the motor, and I'm sure you can. But I want to get all of this. You can see there's leaks and stuff. I'm going to do these seals. The belt was done 20,000 miles ago, but since I'm going to be doing the seals, I'll probably do the belt again. This doesn't have very much oil leakage, but it's just starting, so the seals need to be done. Unfortunately, I tried not to do the air conditioner condenser to keep that sealed, but I can't do it. It's connected to the car, so to get the motor and trans out and work it by not being in the around the car, then I gotta dump the AC. So I collected that in my little AC bin, and we'll put it back in, charge it, and hopefully there's no problems. One thing that irritates me about Audi, and maybe I'm ignorant, but the speed, the ABS sensor goes through the spindle arm, whatever you want to call it, comes out right here, and then goes up into the car. Now you'd think, well, that's in the engine compartment. No, that's in the passenger compartment somewhere on both sides. So I'm just gonna get it's 4 wires. I'm gonna get a 4-pin connector, like a douche connector, douche, whatever, and connectorize those so that, you know, I can be comfortable that water's not gonna get in there. But I had to cut them because it was just 2 or 3 hours of the work getting all the interior stuff out to get those unplugged and pushed through and then pulled out, and it's just ridiculous. Oh, one other thing, little trick, to get to, let me get the light again, to get to those 2 bolts real easily on the exhaust, you can take off this connector right here and your transmission connector, and you can really get your hand up. You can see it's a pretty big area to get your hand up in there in a wrench. There's room once you get up there, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's one small trick for getting that exhaust off, and there's the exhaust there. The top bolt is, here's the engine side. So this top bolt, they put the oxygen sensor, oh shit, this top bolt right here conflicts with the oxygen sensor. Yeah, so you have to, from the engine compartment, pull this oxygen sensor out so that you can get a ratchet on this bolt. You can see it. They're right in line with each other, so your ratchet won't go on there. It's kind of silly, but it is what it is. Yeah, so that's where we're at now. Today I'm hoping to get this, I've got everything disconnected so far. I'm hoping to get it dropped today, pool league tonight, so yeah, I can't work on it all day. Alright, I'll keep you updated. Okay, well, I got some power washing done. Transmission's pretty clean. I got the garage door closed, hoping the light's better in here because it's so bright outside. Well, even though it's raining, but yeah, got this motor cleaned up. I like working on cleaner stuff, but you can see all the grease and stuff is gone. And the subframe, I call it the K-member because I'm old school, but subframe's all nice and clean, easier to work on. I'm going to replace this CV axle because it's bad, and the other 2 in the donor car are also bad, so we'll replace that. Then, not hard to see, but pretty clean up in there. Power washed it all, got all the grease and stuff out, so hopefully we'll get all these oil leaks sealed up, and then with the cleanliness, we'll be able to tell if there's anything leaking, and we'll attack it and clean and fix it, you know, appropriately. So now we've been doing some tire work over here. You can see it's a mess, but we're getting that cleaned up today. So anyway, yeah, I'll get these. I've got a seal. I don't know, you know, mechanic wise, but this front pump seal. Whenever you take a transmission apart while leaving the torque converter on the engine, you want to replace this seal. I mean, it's a good time to replace the seal anyway, no matter what, but usually when you pull the torque converter out with the engine, you end up messing the seal up. So I pulled it out. I got another one coming. Hopefully today we'll get this transmission and the engine together with the correct torque converter, and yeah, the seal looks like, I think it is right here. Yeah. Oh, so they're usually like, you know, less than $6-7, something like that. Oh, and I also got these Deutsch connectors, four position Deutsch connectors, because on this guy, for some reason, Audi, on the speed sensors here, Audi decided to run them through the, oh man, grease, gross, run them through the, God, you can't see that, can you? Yeah, run them through the A-arm, or the spindle arm, sorry, and come out the other side here. You can see it better there. So, and then it goes into the body. I cut it. It's 4 wires. There's 2 for the brake pads and 2 for the speed sensor, but it goes into the body, like right in there. And then it comes out. I don't know if you can see that. It comes out inside the cabin area underneath the dash, and there's no connector between them on both sides. And so it's like, how are you supposed to, that's not even a serviceable thing. So I got the Deutsch connector so I can connect them with a waterproof clean connector, make them serviceable. I think it'll be cool. Well, a little bit of struggling. We were able to get the transmission properly mated to the motor. It's dark in here, sorry. Not much to see there. Good thing I have this cool cart. Puts up with a lot of weight. So next thing is to clean some motor mounts, or not motor mounts, but transmission mounts and covers, bolts, starter. I don't have the starter in yet, it's filthy. And just get her ready to go up in the body. So one little step at a time.